I'm not happy that he's resigned. I think he should be prosecuted. He was tyrannical and he saw us all as his prisoners. Keir Starmer, I think, will go down as the worst Prime Minister this country's ever had, ever in history. I don't think he will be remembered.
I want to bring in Tommy Robinson to react now live. Tommy, the bastard is gone. Blubbering wreck. And really, he should be crying, shouldn't he, about the damage that he's done to our dang country?
Yeah, I'm in two minds because I'm not happy that he's resigned. I think he should be prosecuted. I think the abuse he used in the judiciary and the weaponisation of it to try and put fear into the British public, imprisoning mothers, grandfathers, none of these things should ever be forgotten of what he done. He didn't lead our country as a leader. He was tyrannical and he saw us all as his prisoners. And it was his way, or he would force it to go his way. No one was allowed a voice against him. And what lays ahead now? And the reason why I'm probably not as happy is because I see Andy Burnham as our next leader. I don't know how much you know about Andy Burnham, Dan. I investigated after the attacks in Manchester, the Ariana Grande attacks. I looked heavily into Manchester and I found Andy Burnham continually sharing a platform with Mend. I found him and his friends took money from Mend. Mend are a extremist jihadist group. He works alongside them, not just works alongside them. His council were holding joint seminars across the area with this group. So Andy Burnham is in bed with Islamic Jihad as any of them are. He doesn't care. So I don't see it. But the worst thing is Andy Burnham's more of a palatable face. You saw that in the recent election. I think in the recent election that there should have been a conservative effort between Restore and Reform and everyone else to try and stop Andy Burnham. Because Andy Burnham is going to be a much better leader for Labour than Keir Starmer was. And I don't want Labour to have good
so
leader.
He is a threat, and obviously that connection to Islamism is a huge threat, not to mention the fact that Burnham was in part involved in the cover-up of the rape gang scandal, Tommy, according to Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry. Is that something you agree with?
Yeah, didn't he say that we were, what was the words he used? What was the word he used? Propaganda? Did he say it was propaganda? I can't remember. But yeah, but everyone in Labour is part of the rape gang scandal cover-up. Literally, if you've rose your way through the ranks of Labour, at some point you've been involved in covering up the rape gang. That's a fact, because it's happened in every town and city. And they know it has. They all know it has. But then they all try and change the history. And now when he gets in, he'll probably start talking strong on it and trying to make the public believe he's going to bring about the change. But it is a worry. But Keir Starmer, I think, will go down as the worst Prime Minister this country's ever had, ever in history. He has outraged the public. He's enraged the world. He's been the weakest looking leader. I think Keir Starmer, didn't Donald Trump announce 3 days ago that he was resigning?
Last night he said Keir Starmer will resign and he's been a failure, and he pointed towards the immigration and energy policies. I mean, that's a mortifying embarrassment. And this is the thing, he's embarrassed the country, hasn't he, Tommy, as well? It's not just what he's done to our country, he's embarrassed us on a world stage. I mean, you've spent a lot of time in America recently, you know that.
He's a laughingstock, an absolute laughingstock. But the next leader's going to be no different. That's my problem. The next leader's going to believe no different, be no different, but have more of a palatable face and not be as stupid as Keir Starmer. So,
do you think Starmer weaponized the judiciary against you? I mean, we know, for example, that his Attorney General Hermer was involved in the jailing of Lucy Connolly.
It was Hermer who prosecuted me, and it was Hermer who, even on our appeals, it was the government that were blocking everything from when I was in prison. Even the attempts to be removed, that it was their decision to hold me on solitary. It was their decision to continue holding me on solitary, even when we pointed out that there were prisons I could be sent to, especially open prisons that had no Muslim prisoners. They still doubled down and enforced holding me on solitary. So all the conditions were that come from that Labour government, yes.
How do you think Slippery Starmer will be remembered?
I don't think he will be remembered. Not in years to come. In our generation, of course, we're going to remember him, but he's never going to be remembered as one of the greats, as a leader of when people list if you said who are the leaders of Britain in 30, 50, 100 years' time, no one's going to mention Keir Starmer, are they? So, yeah, I'm glad he's gone, but I want to know more about the rent boys, why he didn't pay them, what story went on with him. Now, he's trying to blame everything on Russia, isn't he? He's trying to blame his rent boys on Russia.
This is after the conviction last week. The BBC is reporting that this was a Russian plot, but obviously we still don't know who the mysterious figure behind the firebombing actually was. And look, Tommy...
Can I tell you, certain people do firebombing, yeah? Certain people blow things up. Growing up in the UK, you know, the criminal fraternity, you know, who's that? Rent boys don't go around blowing shit up, right?
Tommy,
it's not the sort of people that are hired to go and blow stuff up.
Yeah.
People who are hired to go and bomb. And if you look at the arson attacks that come out that are funded by Iran, there's no rent boys blowing stuff up, right? So it just doesn't add up. Those 3 rent boys, I bet they have no criminal history other than their sexual practices. I bet they have no criminal history, and there's a lot more to it.
And of course, one of their fathers has said that they had absolutely full animosity to Russia. So that story never made sense. It was always a cover-up. I stand by that, and obviously have covered people like George Galloway who have made very similar claims. Tommy, to me, when I think about Starmer's legacy as Prime Minister, though, I always think back to those days after the Southport massacre. And remember, he had only been Prime Minister for a matter of days. And do you remember he turned up to the scene of the massacre, and he was surrounded by locals. These were not agitators. It's been proven that these were locals who were absolutely devastated about what had gone down, and this is what happened.
How many more children are going to die in our streets, Prime Minister? How many more children? How many more children, Prime Minister? Are we going to do something?
Time to change, Starmer.
Come on, it's needed. How many more children? Is it mine next? What's changed for? Bye-bye. You got your photos, off you go. Make a real change, Prime Minister. Make a real change! Our children! Go away!
I just found out my friend's 9-year-old daughter.
And Tommy, he went back to number 10 Downing Street and quaffed champagne at a party. I don't think the country ever forgave him.
And then he come out and he doubled down some more, calling every single person far right. Said it was all organised by the far right. What police reports proved later, there was no far right involvement in anything in Southport. It was all locals. It's the weapon that he's used against everyone. But the problem is for him, even the day before our last United Kingdom event, that rhetoric doesn't work anymore. He come out the day before our last event, didn't he? Done some big speech about the far right and how dangerous we are and don't stand with us. And the public basically, once again, told him to politely fuck off. And finally, he has politely fucked off. I think that, yeah, he's been a... Do you know what, though? Do you know what I should say, Dan? Dan, I've been in this 17 years, yeah? And we have needed this country's public to be awake. We needed them to see the problems. I've done as much as I possibly could. Keir Starmer probably done more for us in his leadership than I could ever dream of. So Keir Starmer has done more to awaken the public, more to let them see the problems, more to let them see the weakness, the cowardice, more to let them see the tyranny. The United Kingdom movement, I don't think could have been as strong, possibly, with the numbers it's had without him as a leader. So I probably should be thanking him, because all of the problems that we face that are coming forward, we need them to come to a head. We need the public to come to a head with them soon. We can't wait another 10 years. We're losing our country day by day, week by week, month by month. The ability to regain control of our nation could be an impossibility in another 10 or 15 years. So we're running out of time. The clock is ticking. 2020, the next election is probably the most important election, and it may well be soon, right? Is there going to be? I know they're going to have a leadership contest. Do you think there'll be a snap election?
Well, I don't believe that Andy Burnham will want to run out the clock, right? Because when you become Prime Minister and a new popular Prime Minister, you have quite a short window. What's interesting is at the moment he's promising MPs, oh no, there's not going to be an election. I think there's going to be an election, right? Because he's got to go when he's at his most popular. And let's be honest, he ain't changing anything. He's not changing anything with the economy. He's not changing anything with illegal immigration. He's not changing anything with Islamism.
It's not like he's against immigration. It's not like he's against any of these things. So it's just more of the same, but with a different smile. In fact, more of the same, but with a more palatable face and a more palatable. So, yeah, I think he could be more dangerous for us as a nation. Because, yeah, I hope he does hold an election, though. I hope he does.
Joining our outspoken watch party now, one of Restore Britain's big new recruits, former Conservative and Reclaim MP, Andrew Bridgen. Andrew, your reaction to Starmer finally leaving?
Well, it was inevitable that he'd have to go after the Makerfield by-election, which was actually a by-election, probably the most high-profile by-election of our lifetime. And the majority of the parties there, their aim was to get rid of Starmer. Well, the fact is that Andy Burnham enjoyed an increased majority for himself and the Labour Party on the basis that he was the only one who could deliver it. And he's delivered it in record time. For all the bull and bluster of Starmer, he was going to fight on and fight on. When he saw the political inevitability, there was no way he was going to go into a leadership competition with Andy Burnham because Starmer would have been humiliated. He is the most hated, despised Prime Minister I can ever remember, and not without cause. But we have to remember that this is the 7th Prime Minister we've gone through in the UK in the last decade. I suppose on average he's got a longer lifespan in number 10 than the average of them. There's a reason for this, is because our prime ministers have repeatedly, consistently betrayed the people, and that's the punishment. And I'm afraid Andy Burnham will have a bounce in the polls because he's not Keir Starmer, which is an advantage, but it won't last long because the fundamentals haven't changed. It's still the same old Labour Party.
Andrew Bridgen, do you believe that Andy Burnham is going to challenge any of the deep state, or is he just another one who knows that there is a narrative that has to be followed and the way to stay in power is to not really shake things up too much? We've already seen him moving back from so many of his positions that may have challenged for example, some of the Starmer manifesto pledges.
Well, Andy Burnham is a darling of the World Economic Forum. And if he weren't an approved candidate, he wouldn't be in the position he is now, where he's going to be coronated Prime Minister. And he hasn't, Parliament doesn't sit until 2:30. I don't think any public appreciation or pleasure from Andy Burnham, I'm not sure it's going to last any longer than the fizz in the champagne at number 10 this afternoon.